Hey, horror fans, once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Monty G, and today, this month, of course, is February, and February is Women in Horror Month. So a month celebration about the women in horror, whether they are final girls, whether they're writers, directors, anything involving women in horror month. Even my favorite horror ghouls, they celebrate this very month because they really enjoy this month, whether it's Queenie Todd, Gory B movie, Gory, Gory, oh boy, I'll get her name, Felicia, which is Girly Gore, I'll get this right, Mother Mayhem, Lindsay, any other of the girls, Jen from Jen's Reviews from the Grave, my good friend Jenna from the Horror, all the horror girls that are my favorite horror girls. I want to give them a round of applause for some of the hard work they do. Emma from Spooky Astronauts, Vicky from Nightmare Maven, all my horror girls who do all the hard work and, some of the stuff that they have to put up with, unfortunately, all because they enjoy horror, but this is their month-long celebration. So to you, I celebrate you girls right there. Now, one of the things I like to do during Women in Horror Month, I did this last year, but I actually focused on the men. This is also Black History Month. So last year I simply just did black men in horror. But being that this is Women in Horror Month and Black History Month, I'm going to focus more on the black women in horror. Mainly black women who were final girls in horror. Now, when you think of final girls, we all know what you think about that. Very rarely do black women come up as final girls in horror movies. As a matter of fact, we all know what black people have represented in horror films. Of course, recently we've seen a bit of a surge and a change about how black people, African Americans, are represented in horror films. And I basically want to talk about the black final girls. Now, as I stated before, when it comes to horror, mainly slashers, one of the more interesting tropes in slasher horror films is the so-called final girl. She's the one that survived several attacks from the killer, monster, wherever is attacking them, and has already killed almost everybody else. And finally, in a dramatic fashion, the girl finally kills the killer or the monster at the end, and she survives. She is the so-called final girl. Now, when we think about what a final girl is, they're normally young Caucasian women, and for whatever reason, they can summon the strength to confront, outsmart, and kill the thing that has killed all her friends. And most of the time, she is the last one standing. Now, the reason why I say that, because we don't know anything about, when it comes to horror movies, these final girls here mostly are not really smart. They make a lot of dumb decisions, but all of a sudden, you have this one girl who can summon up the strength, courage, and all of a sudden put all these skills together and wind up outsmarting and killing the bad guy. Yes, some of it can be believable, some of it cannot be. Now, I'm not going to sit here and name some of those final girls, as most of you know who they are. I'm not going to talk about them. My main point in this video here is to talk about the rare instances when the final girl is African American. The one I'm going to talk about in this video is Jada Pinkett Smith from Tales of the Crypt Demon Knight. Yeah, she was the final girl. Believe that. In Tales of the Crypt Demon Knight, now keep in mind, I'm not really going to spoil anything as far as Tales of the Crypt Demon Knight is concerned, because that's not my point here. My point here is to talk about Jada Pinkett Smith being the final girl in this movie. Now, the setting in the movie is your typical setup that we've seen in most horror movies before. Now, this is not a slasher film, but it has elements of slasher trope characters in there. Taking place in the boarding house that used to be a church, we have several characters along with Geraldine. That's Jada Pinkett's character. Now, she is a convict that is on work release. Now, everything seems fine when all the characters are introduced. But when a killer, this time a demon known as the Collector, reveals itself, and then that's when the killing starts and all hilarity and shit breaks loose. Now, as I stated before, not going into great details about the movie, one of the interesting aspects is that most of the characters here in this particular movie have faults. They have faults. They have character flaws, and the demon exploits this. While Geraldine, who we know is not really innocent, I believe, if I got my facts straight, she was arrested for either a bank robbery or something, and she's on work release, and she tried to do the same thing. But even though she's not innocent. She winds up being the chosen one, chosen by Breaker, even after being tempted by the demon. I thought that was a very interesting point, is that even though she's not as innocent as the rest of the people here, she has her flaws, she does have fault, but she doesn't give in to the temptation that the collector tries to get her into. Now, one of the reasons why I picked this scene and this movie is that we all know what typically happens to black people in horror movies, as I stated before, especially during the height of slasher subgenre during the 80s. They're normally the first ones to be killed or will be killed by the killer or the monster. You know, they're also mostly known as the token black person in the movie. Yeah, unfortunately, if you watch the documentary Horror Norel, I think that's how it was, Norel, most of the people on that documentary will explain how black people were treated in horror pictures. And this was really a very instance that we actually see a character such as Geraldine not be the stereotypical black person that we see in horror pictures. Now, I'm not talking about the black exploitation films that we came out during the 70s or anything like that. I'm pretty sure some people might have seen them. I know I've seen them before growing up. But this is the first time where I actually saw a black woman or even a black character not be the stereotypical black person in the movie. And I also like how Jada Pinkett portrays Geraldine. She isn't the stereotypical black girl of an attitude, always snapping her fingers and waving her hair like that. She is simply a woman who is trying to do the right thing despite some mistake that she made in her life. As the movie goes along, when she sees the child that's in the basement, and she goes out of the way to make sure. I think his name is Danny, if I'm not mistaken. She makes sure that Danny is safe, and he wants to make sure she is safe. Now, this is also a different role for Jada Pinkett at the time of her career. She's played some other roles before being cast as this one, as in a Low Down Dirty Shame. This is before she became big and before she married Will Smith. So I like how she portrayed the character here, and I got to give credit for her and also give credit for Eric Dickerson. He was a black director at the time. Now, this role could have been played by any actress. You could actually see a white actress portray this one, but you got to give Eric Dickerson credit and the filmmaker credit for casting Jada Pinkett. Now, I particularly enjoyed the chemistry she has with Billy Zane, who plays the demon known as the Collector. I like how when she confronts him, she doesn't do anything silly or stupid. She actually uses her brains, how she tries to defeat him. And I like how she uses her brain, just like Amy Still did in Friday the 13th Part 2 and confronting the Collector. And again, at the end, she actually does outsmart and defeats the demon in a very, very, very nice battle. I like the interactions between them. I like how she fakes him out and not realizing what's happening to him, even though she's not saying anything. He doesn't know what's happening. It was a great movie, and I thought it was a great way to end the movie. And I, again, really enjoyed the fact that we finally had a black actress be a final girl in a horror movie. Now, again, it's a shame we did have to wait this long before we actually had an African-American actress as a final girl. And as I stated before, I'm not talking about the black exploitation films that we've seen. I'm pretty sure that most other people will probably say, well, there's other black actresses prior to this one that might have been a final girl. Well, that's possibly true. I know there's others. There's others, because we do have other black actors that have been final girls. We have Halle Berry in Gothica, Shayna Lathan in Alien vs. Predator, and Naomi Harris in 28 Days Later. I probably will talk about a few of those throughout this month. But one of the things that I understand, and one of the problems I think we don't know about these actresses, is that they don't get the recognition for being a final girl in the horror community or in horror subgenre like their white counterparts. Now, it could be they don't wish to seek it, probably due to fear of being typecast. Most people say, oh, the only thing you can do is horror pictures. And I'm pretty sure they've seen actresses who have been known for horror be typecast for horror, and their careers don't go any better. You know. But I believe that these women do deserve the respect and the credit for being a final girl, just like Amy Steele and Heather Langenkamp do. I mean, they deserve that credit too. Now, of course, if they will wish the secret, that's basically something I can understand that. But I think they do deserve the credit for being the final girls. Now, I'm not here complaining or trying to say that I'm not hating on white actresses. I enjoy some of the final girl the white final girls just as much as seeing them. I'm just saying is that we rarely see, and me as a black man and probably one of the few black YouTubers who has a YouTube channel based solely on horror. Now there are other black people that have YouTube channels, but I rarely see black people such as myself that has a YouTube channel simply based on horror. And I just like to see the recognition in the horror community and also, in the horror films, in the horror world, that we recognize these actresses for their contributions for being in horror movies. Now, of course, we've seen a bit of a rise and black actresses in horror movies. Lupita Nyong'o, she's actually been in horror movies such as Little Monsters and Us. And then we saw Octavia Spencer. She's in Mom. She was actually the bad guy in there. So we are seeing a bit of a rise some of the black actresses have in horror films, and not just black actresses, and black men as well. But I'm more focusing on the women. And basically, my video here, this vlog I'm doing, is trying to feature more of the black actresses and some of the stuff that they have done. So, my horror fans, what do you think about this little topic I'm going over today? Do you agree with me? Do you think that we should have more black actresses as final girls? And what do you think about Jada Pinkett Smith's performance in Tales of the Crypt Demon Knight? Leave your comments in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about this topic here. And so that's my video for the day, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and hit that like button. And also, if this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put up new videos such as this one. Also, all my social media links will be down in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, horror rules. I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.
Sometimes that is better.